Episode 6, Crystaline Beauty. Sondra lay silently by the powering pool, staring up at the cloudless, starlit sky. She learned all about the constellations, and often sat for hours just watching them speed through the heavens. There was a chill in the air now that fall had arrived, and the forest's trees were a blaze of color. The harvest moon was full this night, and Sondra never thought it more beautiful. She rolled on her side, sighing. She had not been created to appreciate beauty. Her mission was clear: get as many freedom fighters into the void so it could drain their energy away. First, it seemed easy enough. Make up a story about Sally's father, with just enough truth in it for her to believe it. Sally wouldn't be able to resist, and where the princess went, the others would follow. But then, she actually met the king, found herself softening. He had shown her nothing but kindness. Remember, folks, this is SATAM King Acorn, not the comics. SATAM King Acorn is actually a nice guy. Comics King Acorn could go die in a fire. And Nagus, even though his anger at Robotnik had done the same. Who are you and what have you done with Nagus? By the time she had left the void, she had indeed been adopted to the House of Acorn, and resolve was weakening. That's why the void told her to feign a comatose state while it tried on its own to trick Sally. When that had not worked, she had awoken with her resolve intact. But then she met Sally, saw the love she had for her father, and something stirred inside her. Thinking of harming her was hard. She tried to force herself to do what she knew she had to anyway. But then that's when she saw Tails. As soon as she saw him, the feeling stirred by Sally had exploded through her entire body. She quelled it as best she could, hiding in front of Void when it demanded to know why she had disobeyed it. She had wanted time to discover what really happened, fearing that Tails was some sort of sorcerer who could stop her. No, that's his uncle. But that wasn't it. And through a series of events that followed, she ended up here, trying to decide what to do. She took a power ring out of her backpack and stared at it. Was this her salvation or a curse? She didn't know. She had now free will to decide what came next, and it was a decision that would affect the future of the Freedom Fires. She could either trap them, as were her original intent, or let things continue on indefinitely. There was a third choice that only recently occurred to her, but she knew it would demand a heavy price, one she was unsure if she could pay. Hey! A voice called, accompanied by the sound of tails whistling through the air. You ready? Sondra smiled and put the power ring back in her backpack. She stood up and turned just in time to see Tails wrap his arms around her and hug her. She hugged him back. Ready, Miles, she said. Tails looked at her. You know, you're the only one I let call me by my real name, don't you? Of course, that's what I do. She gave him a quick kiss on the nose. Come on, she said, letting him go and walk towards the war room. Sally be waiting. Tails walked right beside her, keeping one arm around her shoulders. Without realizing she was doing it, Sondra's arm stuck around his waist. He walked like that until they joined the others, even then still holding each other, leaning against the wall. Sally was counting heads, making sure everyone had shown up. Okay, she said when she had finished. Remember, everyone, this is a recon mission only. Robotropolis has been really active recently, and I want to know why. Oh, Sal, Sonic said from his position behind her. You know I can't go to Robotropolis without destroying at least one swap butt. Got my aimers to think about, you know? Sonic, we talked about this. I just want to get in, find out what's going on, and get out. Sonic walked up to stand next to her. But Sal, do you really think that old Sniffly will just let us waltz in there without a fight? You need some sort of distraction if you're going to find out what he's up to. Sonic's right, Princess, Lippe said, standing up. You'll stand a better chance if he draws their attention. You must admit, no one can do it because I Sonic. They're right, you know, Sally girl, Bunny said, also standing. Sure Hog will get their attention, like he usually does, and end up costing Sniffly a few swap butts, or maybe even a hovership. Yeah, but... Sally started but couldn't finish. But what? Sonic asked. What's with you lately? You've been holding me back a lot lately. But I just don't want anything to happen to you, Sally said finally. This could all be a plan to buy Sniffly to draw us out into the open. I don't want to lose you. Sal, I've been on so many raids I could go through it blindfolded. Heck, There ain't nothing Sniffly can throw at me that'll stop me. Especially since I'm going with you, Tails said. Don't forget me, Sondra added in. Say what? Sonic asked, looking at those two. Sorry, you two, but I can move much faster on my own. I can keep up with you, Sonic, Sondra said defensively. I won't slow you down. Where she goes, I go, Tails said. It makes a certain sense, Sonic, Antoine said thoughtfully. The more of us that are with you, the less likely it is that Sniffly will be thinking of the diversions. No, diversion. That is it. Speaking of which, I looked at the view counts, Antoine, and apparently the video that had you predominantly as a cover has the worst views of the series. Interesting. And you won't go unless there are at least 2 others with you, Sally said firmly. Sonic grimaced. All right, you win. Tails, Sondra, he'll be with me. Tails and Sondra high-fived each other. I'm ready for some serious juicing, jamming, and whamming, Sondra said excitedly. Everyone had to stifle a laugh, even Sonic. Though he was a princess, she tended to act more like Sonic than Sally. She became more like him every day. So the animals would wonder what would happen if Sondra were one day forced to assume the throne. It would be just like having Sonic as the king. And not all of them were thrilled with either idea. All right, everyone, calm down, Sally said, motioning for quiet. Against my better judgment, I'll let you 3 go, provided there are no heroics. Remember the objective. Reconnaissance, not sabotage. Yeah, Sonic said, tapping his foot impatiently. So, are you two coming or what? He wrapped up his legs and took off, leaving a trail of fire behind him. Show off, Sondra muttered. Unless he said, grab on, Tails, it's my turn. Wait a minute. She said, her attention diverted. What's that? She has pointed to a piece of crumpled paper under Sally's boot. Oh, this? Oh, this garbage, Sally said casually. Would you mind throwing it out for me on your way? She asked, kicking at Sondra. Tails put his arms around Sondra's waist, locked his hands as Sondra caught the paper. Sondra revved up her legs and sped off into the direction Sonic headed, leaving her own trail of fire right beside Sonic's. As she ran, she read the paper. Beware the laser, was written in handwriting Sondra did not recognize. Sondra thought, speeding along. This could be important, but why did Sally disregard it? She tucked it in her vest pocket and sped up, trying to catch Sonic. Sally watched him go with a fond look. What am I going to do with those 2? She asked herself fondly. The same thing I'll do with Sugar Coyote here, Bunny said, grabbing Antoine without warning. Give 'em all 3 the love you got. Bunny, Antoine said, coughing. I cannot be able to breathe. Sally shook her head as Bunny released Antoine. I guess I didn't speak as quietly as I thought, she thought. I don't mean to interrupt, Lupe said, but we really need to get going, or Sonic and the others might get into trouble. All right, then, Sally said, focusing on the task at hand. Let's go. Sonic, Sondra, Tails sped through the great forest, heading straight for Robotropolis. Getting slow, Sonic, Sondra called as she caught up to him. Slow? What? Sonic asked, looking at her. I just got into cruise control. Sure you do, Tails said, laughing. By the way, Sonic, you might want to veer a little bit to the right. Why? Sonic asked, looking forward again just in time to see a tree directly in front of him. He went into a Sonic spin and plowed through the tree. He started running again as soon as he was through, never missing a beat. Like I said, why? Better save some of that energy, Sondra said, slowing. We're here. Sonic came to a complete stop and picked something off the ground. I always keep it dying here. Just a stop on it, he said jokingly. Sondra thought to yours would just bust out laughing, and Tails started she couldn't hold back. He kept laughing as much as Sonic bowed repeatedly, saying, I know, I'm just too much. Yeah, Sondra said, calming down, but too much of what? Sonic gave a half frown in the direction. Man, can't believe I left myself wide open for that one. Tails shrugged. He spied a search beam from a hover ship and brought it to the other's attention. All 3 ducked behind a metal wall and waited for it to pass. So, what's the plan? Tails whispered in hushed tones. Easy, little bro, Sonic answered. All we gotta do is wait for Sal's signal and cause some random and illogical destruction. Way past cool, Sondra said, rubbing her hands together. That's the kind I like. After a few minutes, they saw Dulcie flying in, carrying Rotor, Lupe, and a member of the wolf pack Sonic they can recognize. Sally was flying just behind her, holding on to Bunny and Antoine, one in each hand. Sonic couldn't help but admire Sally as she and Dulcie flew behind a nearby building. She had really grown strong in the use of her powers. Sonic noticed that their powers seemed to be linked. As he got faster, her flight got stronger. He would have to remember to ask Uncle Chunk about that. From around the building, Sonic saw Bunny's arm wave. That's our cue, he said, standing. Ready, guys?
Really an evil Sonic,
Tails and Sondra said together, causing another small outbreak of giggles. Once it passed, they all ran out for the cover. Sonic and Sondra wrecking the nearby SWAT bots. Even Tails managed to cause some damage when he flew between two SWAT bots that caused them to shoot each other. Let's move, Sally said from her hiding spot as soon as she saw the robot's attention diverted.
Freeze, intruders!
A metallic voice droned from behind him just as the siren started blaring. They all turned to look and saw 3 robots standing behind him, and one on a hover sled. All had lasers pointing at him.
Raise your hands,
the one in the lead said. Sally raised her hands and motioned for the others to do the same. All did, except for Bunny and Antoine. Flip you for a sugar? Bunny asked nonchalantly. As you wish, my dear, Antoine said, taking a coin from his pocket and flipping it. The robot's attentions were drawn to the coin for only a split second. That was all they needed. Antoine drew his sword. He had started practicing with it again, and now carried it with him at all times, and sliced open the lead robot's knees. Bunny grabbed the robot as it fell and tossed it towards the others. The one in the hoverstead flew out of the way, but the 2 on the ground were caught beneath the robot and all 3 exploded. The one in the hoverstead immediately began firing at the freedom fighters, who all scattered. Sonic saw the commotion. Plane's blown! He called to Sondra and Tails. The others need our help! He sped towards the fight with Sondra and Tails looking out.
Lupe, look out!
The unknown wolf said, pushing Lupe out of the way just as the robot fired at her. The laser hit the wolf flush in the chest, and he fell to the ground, screaming in agony. No! Lupe cried, running to his side. The wolf lay on the ground, still as death. Lupe searched his fallen body for signs of life, and then he was strong and stable. Victor, she began, before her words were choked off by a cry of terror. The wolf's body started to glow purple as metal began to replace flesh and blood. What in the name of the Almighty? Lupe said, not fully understanding what was happening. Sonic, double ring time! Sondra called, grabbing the power ring from his backpack. Just what I was thinking, kid! Sonic said, grabbing up to the ring as he held it. The power ring grew brighter than ever, surrounding both Sonic and Sondra in its light. He ran straight for the hover sled and tore into it. The robot exploded, sending parts in all directions. Oh my gosh! Sally said, standing beside Lupe as the transformation became complete. Or what I say, Stacy gun, as he said softly. That's what Sniffly's been up to! Hate to point this out, but a whole battalion of SWAT butts are heading this way, Sonic said, pointing. We gotta go, now! But we can't just leave them here, Lupe protested. The wolf's robot's eyes snapped open and glowed bright red.
Priority 1, capture and detain freedom fighters by order of Sniffly,
he droned, reaching for Lupe's throat. Sally slapped away the hand and hauled Lupe to her feet. We can't do anything for him now. He's under Sniffly's control. Dulcie!
You got this, Sally,
Dulcie said, picking up Lupe and putting her in her pouch.
Meet you at knothole,
as he called, taking off amidst Lupe's continued protesting. Everyone, grab onto someone! Sonic yelled, just as the first hover units came into sight. Antoine grabbed Sonic, Bunny grabbed Sally, and Tails grabbed Sondra. Out of here! Sonic yelled, taking off with Sally and Sondra right beside him. Sniffly smiled from his concealed observation point.
So, now they know what I've been up to,
he said, as if talking to someone though he was alone.
I'll believe they'll think twice before trying another raid. Wouldn't you agree?
He asked of his invisible companion, then walked back towards the command center. Donovan frowned and stepped into the light. I must be slipping, he muttered. Sniffly knew I was here all along, but I can't worry about that now. Better get to Knothole and see what they're going to do about this. Device 1 activated. Glowing red eyes peered out from a soury alcove.
You're slipping more than you realize,
Metal Sonic grated as he watched Donovan fly off.
Sniffly has really gotten to you, hasn't he? I should follow you to Knothole, but I don't want to spoil our next surprise!
The robot spit off sound to Sniffly, delighted at a job well done. Now, later, back in Knothole, Sally paced the floor of her hut. How did we miss it? She asked no one in particular. I mean, it must have taken a long time for Sniffly to come up with this. How could we not known about it?
Calm down, Sally.
Uncle Tuck said from his chair.
Remember, Robotnik built a roboticizer with the plans he stole from me without anyone realizing it. We just underestimated him, like we've done with Sniffly.
Oh, trust me, Sally said, her voice dark and menacing. I will never underestimate him again.
Yo, Sal!
Sonic said, walking into the hut. Bunny told me to tell you Lupe's finally asleep. Seems that sedative Uncle Chuck gave her put her up, but good. Thanks, Sonic. Well, at least something's going right. I just wish he had some of those guns to analyze. You know, there's a part of me that wonders if Uncle Chuck might have also been part of a doctor, besides being an inventor. Just judging from how he wanted to make Mobians live longer. Sonic looked at the floor, shuffling his feet. Then his head popped up as he remembered something.
Almost forgot! Got a present for you, Sal.
Sonic, this is neither the time or place for this, she said angrily. Don't you care about what we just saw?
Of course I do.
But fine, if you don't want to think of it as a present, then just consider it a wish fulfilled. Sal looked at Sonic. The expression on her face somewhere between anger and bewilderment. Sonic, what are you babbling about? Sonic smiled as he took off his backpack and reached into it.
You'll see,
he said as he pulled something dark gray out.
Think fast!
He said, threw it to her. Sally instinctively caught the object and nearly dropped it because it was so heavy. She looked at her hands and found herself holding the arm of one of the SWAT bots that had been destroyed moments ago.
Figure you want to take a look at it, Sonic said. So I picked it up as we ran by it. Am I way past cool or what?
Sally carefully put the arm on the table and stood facing away from Sonic. Sonic, you're amazing. I love you, she said, wiping a tear of relief. This is exactly what we need to get the upper hand on Sniffly. Who knows? We may be able to reverse it into a de-roboticization gun. When we get done, look at this. I'll show you just how much I love you. The seats finished, her voice dropping into a sultry level. Sonic's face blushed bright red.
That's not necessary,
Sonic stammered, the color standing down his neck. Sonic, Sally said heat!
Let's hold off on the celebrating until we get this done,
Uncle Chuck cautioned. He took the arm and popped it open.
Amazing, he breathed. This is an outstanding piece of work.
Can you figure it out? Sally asked, hopeful.
Maybe in time.
Chuck said carefully. He looked at it closely. His eyes widened.
Uh-oh,
he exclaimed. What? What's wrong? Sonic asked, moving closer so he could take a look.
The circuitry. It's dissolving. Sniffly must have put a failsafe in the machinery, so it couldn't be analyzed. It's some sort of acid that must activate when exposed to air. Damn!
Sonic said, slamming his fist on the table, as the last remnants of the arm melted into a pile of goo. Now what'll we do? Do you think Nicole could interface with one if we got another gun?
I doubt it, Sonic,
Uncle Chuck answered.
If Sniffly had this failsafe, may have also integrated a computer virus into the program. One the SWAT bots would be immune to, but Nicole wouldn't. The only thing left to do, I'm going to get back inside the Robotropolis and see what I can find out.
No way, Unc, Sonic protested. Sniffly knows who you are. You would be able to get close enough to him to find out.
But remember, I have a couple of disguises. Who knows? Maybe I'll even be able to get outfitted with one of those guns.
But that means we won't be together anymore, Sonic said, saddened. And since Sonic is sad, this means that this is not following any of Sega's mandates. Yes, I'm still mad about that. But, weirdly enough, Sonic's not allowed to be sad in the comics or games. But, the movie? Perfectly fine. He was perfectly fine with being sad in the movie. Mandates are stupid sometimes.
It was good while it lasted, sonny boy. But things changed. We have to do what's best for Mobius, no matter what the personal cost is. I'll go now and see if my base still exists.
He gave Sonic a quick hug and headed out of the hut.
I'll be back, he called. Count on it!
Sonic stood by the door, leaving until he could no longer see his uncle. Bye, Unc, he whispered. Oh, Sonic, Sally said, coming up right behind him and hugging him. I'm sorry. Sonic turned on Sally and hugged her tight, crying like a dam had just burst inside his eyes. Sally just held him, telling him everything would be all right between her own tears. Sondra backed away from the window, sniffling. She had seen everything, and there was a terrible ache that filled her being. Well, she thought, I never thought things would turn out like this. How could things go this wrong this fast? A tear slid down her cheek. Sondra wiped it away and was surprised to find it was a normal tear, not a crystal one. Uncle Chuck is right. The future of Mobius and all his creatures is more important than anything that concerns just me. There's only one thing to do. As she said, walking quickly through Knothole, I just hope I know what I'm doing. She walked until she stood at the center of Knothole, close to an old iron bell. She lifted a wooden mallet that lay by the bell and struck the bell sharply. A loud, deep gong sounded through the village. She struck the bell twice more, replaced the mallet, and waited. In minutes, every animal in Knothole gathered around her. Brong! Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo! Wow! Sondra? Sally said disbelievingly, forcing her way through the crowd. You know that the bell is used only to call an emergency meeting. Why did you ring it? Sally, please trust me, she said slowly. All will be made plain, but not here. We must all go to the powering pool. It's the only place we can talk with assured privacy. Why the pool? Wouldn't the church be much better? Not for this. I know I'm asking a lot, but please believe me. Of course, Sondra. Come on, everyone, Sally said, raising her voice to be heard. Sondra wants us at the powering pool. Sondra led the way to the pool and stood by its edge while everyone found a seat and got comfortable some other way. Sonic, Sally, Bunny, Rotor, and Tails were in the front of the others, directly in front of Sondra with Dulcie all the way in the back. Everyone was whispering to each other, trying to find someone who knew what was going on. Including Tangle and Whisper back there, who were just busy fixing their house. Sally was surprised that not even Tails knew, and she sensed what was going to be something that would alter her life forever. Once everyone quieted, Sondra turned to face him. You all know my story, she began. How I fell into the void, was adopted by King Acorn, and made my way to Knothole, right? Everyone nodded, so she continued. Well, I have a bit of confession to make. I did not just fall into the void. I was there on purpose. On purpose? Sally asked. Why would you want to go to the void on purpose? That was a lie, too, Sondra said heavily. I did not go into the void. I was always in the void. Sondra, what are you saying? Sally asked worriedly. You're not making any sense. Sondra closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Sally, everyone, what I will about to say will come as a shock and surprise to all of you. Except you, Donovan.
Donovan!
Antoine yelled, standing up.
You do not be so bold as to show up here. But I am here, Antony,
Donovan said, jumping down from a tree branch and walking to the others. Please no fighting, Sondra said. He's not here to harm anyone, and we'll need his help. Need his help for what? Sally asked. I'm getting to that. Sondra opened her eyes, showing irises bright with all colors. I am a creation of the void, made only with the intent to lure you and Sonic into the void, Sally. No, Sally said, shaking her head amidst everyone's gasp of shock and disbelief. This can't be happening. I can't lose my family again. Sondra smiled a sad smile. I lied about who I am and what I am, she said sadly, but not about everything else. Father did adopt me as an acorn, and technically we are related. How's that? Sonic demanded, keeping his anger in check while trying to keep Sally from dissolving into tears. Sondra sighed. When the void created me, it combined your and Sally's DNA, what it got from the last time you were there. It gave me its own substance. In a way, I guess I'm your daughter. Sally stared at her, disbelieving. Why? Why are you telling this now? because I cannot live a lie any longer. You, Father, and Tails have shown me what love is, something the Void did not expect. It changed me, caused me to rebel against my creator, and repeatedly ordered me to capture you, but I couldn't. And then, something remarkable happened. When I first used a power ring, I found that I had been cut off from the Void. It could no longer talk to me, read my thoughts, or order me around. I was free to make my own decisions about what to do in the future.
Apparently you've made your decision, or you wouldn't have called this meeting, Donovan said. What will you do now?
The Void wanted me to bring Sally and Sonic back to it, and I will. But, she continued, cutting out the shots of protest from the others, not as it expects me to.
What do you mean? Sonic asked, motioning for everyone to quiet down.
I believe I know how to destroy the Void, but I'll need your help to do it. And not just you. Bunny and Antoine will have to come along as well.
Whoa, you're basically asking us to destroy an entire dimension?
Why not? The Anti-Monitor does that on a day-to-day basis. And by Faust, we'll do it. What else? Bunny demanded. And I'll let him. The Void is a thing of hate. That's all it knows. The only thing that can destroy it is love. You four have the strongest love out of everyone, and we'll need all of it just to get to its crystalline core. The closer we get to it, the more power it has, and the more crystal normal animals will become. Your love will be the only thing to protect you from its power.
How do we know you're not lying now?
For all we know, this could be your trap. That's where Donovan comes in, Sondra answered. He once fell into the Void himself, but he was able to teleport out using his chips before even 2 seconds had passed. He'll place a chip on each of us with the orders to get us out in 1 hour if something goes wrong.
She's right, Donovan said. I could do that.
But why should we trust Donovan? Same voice asked. Can't, sorry!
Dulcie yelled at the voice.
Sondra knows what she's doing. I hope.
Sondra pulled out the crumpled up paper from her vest pocket and tossed it to Donovan. That's your note, isn't it? She asked him. When he nodded, she asked, You were trying to warn us of a roboticization gun, weren't you? Another nod. That's why we can trust him.
All this is well and good, Donovan said. Well, why should I help you? I could do all that you ask, but you haven't given me a reason to.
I saw how Sally was today. I want to give her something to be happy about.
Again, Donovan interrupted. What does this have to do with me?
Sondra's eyes flashed warningly. If we destroy the Void, she continued, Nagus and Father will be free from it and able to exist on Mobius for the rest of their lives without fear of turning to crystal. The king will return to Mobius.
Do we need Nagus? Because trust me, I don't trust that 3-headed guy.
And maybe if we got the Sword of Acorn. Silence fell over the crowd as the enormity of what Sondra had said sunk in. Even Donovan seemed to be stunned by the concept. Sondra regarded the crowd with concern, half expecting them to cheer her, half expecting them to lynch her. Sally stood slowly and went to Sondra, looking at her eye to eye. Sondra looked back, not flinching in the least. Well, there's only one thing I can say, Sally said, placing her hands on Sondra's shoulders. If I ever do have a daughter, I can only hope she'll be as loyal and loving as you. Sondra stared for a moment, then hugged Sally. Sally hugged her back, crying, You're still my sister, in any sense of the word. Though I cannot speak for the others, if there's any chance that Father could be freed, I want to go for it. Sonic walked up to them and hugged them both.
You know I'll always be there for you, Sally, he said. If you want to do this, we do it. Same goes for me and Sugar Kyle, Sally girl, Bunny said, standing. Let us be doing what we must for you, Sondra, Antoine said.
I'm going too, Tails said quietly. No, Sondra said, pulling away from Sally and going to Tails. It's too dangerous for you to come. Don't you remember what I said?
I know exactly what you said, and I don't care. Remember what I said before? Where you go, I go. Nothing's changed.
But now you know who and what I really am. Doesn't it matter I've lied to you from the moment we've met?
Hey, Tails has had experience with this. One bad, one good. Cosmo is the good, and Fiona's the bad. That no good pedophile. I'm not a pedophile. Yes, you are, Fiona. Deal with it. Tails looked at his feet for a moment. Then stared at Sondra with a look told of a wisdom far beyond his years. Sondra, he began quietly, but with a lot of emotion. I love you. The whole you. I never really knew what that was until I met you. I used to think love was something disgusting and I never wanted to deal with. But then you showed up and all that changed. I don't care what you are or anything like that. I fell in love with you because of the real you. The Sondra I learned about from playing with you, talking with you, and being with you. It never mattered to me who you said you were. It just mattered who you were. Tears swelled up in Sondra's eyes and she hugged Tails. Thank you, she whispered in his ear. And know this. I love you too. That was never a lie. But that's why I want you to stay here. If anything happened to you, I could never forgive myself. Please stay here for me. Tails looked down again. I wish you wouldn't put it that way. But okay, I will. Thanks, she said, kissing his cheek. To the others, she said, we'll leave in 5 minutes, so get ready. We'll meet back here then. Everyone left to do what was needed to be done. Sonic put his hand on Tails' shoulder. That was really moving, little bro, he said, wiping a tear. I never knew you had it in you. Thanks, Sonic, Tails said, smiling. I just hope he doesn't expect to hear that all the time from me. Sonic laughed and mussed up the little fox's hair. You're okay, kid. Sondra held Donovan back as he was about to take off. I need a favor from you, she said when everyone else had left. If you can return the king to Mobius, ask anything of me, Donovan said. I need to make sure that Tails doesn't come. I wasn't completely truthful before. I didn't say everything that would happen if the void was destroyed. I thought as much. This'll cost you, won't it? I don't want him there to see what will happen. I want him to remember me as I am now. Not... She couldn't finish for the lump in her throat. Donovan nodded. Consider it done, princess, he said and saluted. Sondra smiled and nodded. You paid me a great compliment today, Donovan, and I thank you. Now go get your chips, we don't have much time. Donovan activated his rocket boots and headed off. Sondra watched him go and stared at the reflection in the pool. I wish it didn't have to be like this, Tails, she said, crying. I wish we could have lived a full life together. But it has to be like this. It's the only way. Exactly 5 minutes later, everyone was ready to go. While they were making last-minute adjustments and equipment checks, Sondra scanned the crowd for Tails. She wanted to at least tell him goodbye, but he was nowhere near in sight. He probably can't bear to see me go, she thought sadly. I wonder if he has any idea of the truth. Are you guys ready? She asked the four gathered in front of her. Ready, Sonic said, adjusting his backpack again as it was unusually heavy. Ready, Sally said, cracking her knuckles. Somewhere, Hersey is wondering what makes her so sure that Sonic and Sally and Bunny and Antoine have the strongest love here. I mean, come on! What about some of the other couples that are in that hole? Ready, Sally said, cracking her knuckles. She was wearing the outfit she wore when she wrestled Sonic during the duel. She handed Sondra her backpack and slung it on her shoulders. Ready, Bunny and Antoine echoed. Sondra nodded. She motioned to Donovan and walked forward and placed a chip on each of the heroes. He also handed Sally a communicator. I'll try to track you through the void and offer what help I can, he said a little awkwardly. I'll set up communications array with Rotor. It also has a countdown of the 1 hour I could give you. You start it when you get in. Sally nodded and thanked Donovan stiffly. Sondra could tell she did not trust Donovan. She hoped her sister would be able to put it aside soon. They would need his help in defeating Snively once she was... Why does he keep thinking about it? It was inevitable. She knew that. Whatever happened to her, Mobius would be the better for it. She forced it from her mind and turned to the power ring pool. The water of the pool swirled and turned as she approached it. A power ring floated to the surface and hovered there for a moment. Sondra grabbed the ring and opened a small portal to the void, large enough to accommodate her and the four who would accompany her, but small enough not to put all the rest of Nahal in after them. Oh, come on, warp rings don't do that. They're just used by advanced species to travel from world to world. Trixie can't believe you referenced the movie!
Yeah, I did.
Let's do it to it! She yelled, jumping through the portal. And I'm going to keep referencing the other media as much as I want, so there.
The others followed suit. Donovan was about to usher everyone away from the area when something caught his attention. The white tips of two plumy tails were sticking out of Sonic's backpack. Before he could warn him, the portal closed and they were gone. Uh-oh. He thought, reaching for the communicator. Come in, princess, he said, pressing the button.
We read you, Donovan, Sally's voice answered.
Everything's looking good here. Warn Sonic. Tell him he has a stowaway in his backpack.
What?
Sondra screamed, grabbing Sonic's backpack and dumping it out. 3 power rings fell out, accompanied by some odds and ends, and half a chili dog. Sondra took it out, Tails fell out.
Boop! Hi, guys!
Tails said instantly. Sondra! Tails, no! Sondra yelled, opening an exit portal quickly. You have to get out of here.
What's the big deal?
Sonic asked, eating the chili dog and putting the rest of his stuff in his backpack.
He's here now, so why not let him stay?
Tails yelled in pain and grabbed his stomach. That's why, Sondra said, closing the portal dejectedly. She ran to Tails and made him lie on the ground. Easy, Tails, she said soothingly. It'll be over soon. Just hang on. What's happening to him? Sally asked, concerned. Remember what I said? I'm supposed to be 11, but I had the mind and body of a 16-year-old. Oh no, Sally said, lifting her hand to her mouth in surprise. You don't mean... Sondra nodded, then focused all her attention on Tails. Explained to everyone Tails was changing. Though he did not grow even half an inch taller, his hair became thicker and bushier. His face lost some of its youthful curves as the aspect of adulthood came in. He also turned his fur yellow. Underlying muscles formed throughout his body and his tails, giving the appearance of hidden strength. His fur deepened to a rich orange-brown color. Even his screams deepened as the change took place. Sondra knelt down to him until it was over, then brought him to a sitting position. Miles? She whispered in his ear. You know, talk about the change of Sonic's eye color or arm color all you want. But, you know, in the 16-bear era, Tails wasn't nearly as yellow as he is now. He was way more of a darker orange than anything else. So I say, flip all this talk about how to properly do Sonic's colors. Let's talk about Tails' colors for once! Sondra knelt next to him until it was over. She brought him up to a sitting position. Miles? She whispered in his ear. Tails flustered up her.
Sondra?
He said softly.
What happened to me? Why is my voice so deep?
I'm sorry, Tails, but I'm sticking with this voice for the rest of the spec. I'm sorry. Sondra shivered involuntarily. Tails' new voice was rich and deep. Just hearing it sent a chill up her spine. She helped him to his feet and supported his weight as he swayed unsteadily. Remember what I said the void did to me? She asked. Well, it just did that to you. You're now an 11-year-old trapped in the body of a 16-year-old, just like me. Tails looked at himself in surprise.
I just wanted to be with you,
he said, moving and bending his various body parts.
And no idea this would happen. Frankly, I just thought it was part of that story you told.
Well, there's nothing to be done about it now, she said heavily. She looked to the others, who were all standing there with their mouths wide open. Are you coming or not? She asked impatiently, started to walk off with Tails. Sally was the first to shake off her shock and hurried behind after them. Sonic followed immediately after, with Bunny and Antoine close behind. They walked for a few moments, walking somewhat behind Sondra and Tails until he turned the corner of the path. I recognize this place, Sally said, stopping short. This is where Nagas brought us the last time we were here. But that means...
Sondra, a nearby voice exclaimed, what are you doing back here? And who is your friend?
Daddy? Sally whispered. She ran down the path and saw her father and Sondra talking as he turned a corner.
Daddy!
She yelled, tears streaming down her eyes. King Acorn looked up.
Sally?
He whispered.
Sally?
He ran his daughter and hugged her close.
What are you doing here?
He asked, worried. Daddy, we're here to save you.
I thought you understood.
A raspy voice said behind her.
We cannot leave the void, or we will turn into crystal again.
Oh, yes, you can, Nagus, Sonic said, coming to view with Bunny and Antoine close behind. Sondra's got a plan. We're going to spring you from this prison.
Sondra,
The king asked worryingly.
I thought I told you to never return here. What's this about the plan?
Father, it's complicated, Sondra said carefully. Perhaps I'd better start at the beginning. So he spent the next 15 minutes or so detailing everything that had happened since he arrived in Knothole, revealing who and what he really was. To which she got the same reactions she got from Sally, and outlining the plan of action. So you see, she concluded, only the love shared by Sonic and Sally, and by Bunny and Antoine, will be enough to overcome the void and set you both free.
The suggestion does have merit, your majesty,
Nagus observed carefully.
If they could survive the tenances, they may very well do it.
Tenances? What do you to be meaning, tenances? Antoine asked worriedly. Oh, I thought I mentioned them, Sondra said casually. The void can attack us 4 ways. It'll probably do all of them. It can attack us physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I don't like the sound of this, Sonic said darkly. Remember, Donovan's only going to give us an hour. Can we all do this in that time? I mean, I could, but I got 5 other people following me. Oops, I forgot, Sally said, taking the communicator out of her pocket. I'd better start the timer before Donovan gets worried and pulls us out now. So he pushed the button and the timer began counting down. And another thing, Sondra said, walking to Tails. You get this. So he took the chip from her vest and placed it behind his ear. I don't want you getting left behind. But how will you get out? Tails asked. I could open a portal and run out if necessary, she said, looking away from him. Come on, she said abruptly. We better get going. What's this like, Daddy? Sally said, giving another hug.
Good luck to you all,
he said, waving as they walked off. They waved until they were out of sight. Don't worry, Sally, Sondra said comfortably. You'll see him again, I promise.
Don't be making promises you cannot keep, child.
A voice boomed from an unseen source. Damn! Sondra soared, staring at a nearby crystal. How long have you known we were here? A ghostly face formed in the crystal.
Since you opened the portal, Sondra.
It sneered. Though the mouth moved as the words were spoken, it seemed more that the voice emanated from the crystal all around them.
So, you have decided to betray your creator. I tried to warn you against this. Now I have no choice but to uncreate you.
Light shot out from the crystal and once the figure appeared, engulfing Sondra. No! Tails screamed, running to Sondra. When he touched her, he was thrown back by a powerful force. Tails! Sondra cried, struggling to free herself from the beam. Sonic, throw me a power ring! Sally reached in Sonic's backpack and pulled out a power ring. She threw it frisbee style to Sondra. When the ring hit the beam, it reflected back into the crystals, shattering instantly. Tails ran up to Sondra and caught her as she fell. Sondra, are you okay? Sondra shook her head and blinked her eyes rapidly. Yeah, I think so. She picked up the power ring and stood. The power ring glowed and surrounded her in its light. But instead of speeding off, she seemed to be gaining strength from it. You can't harm me now, she yelled, putting her arm through the ring. This protects me from your magic.
Maybe so, but not from this.
For a crystal wall sprang up from the ground, surrounding them immediately.
I had hoped to drain your life's essence slowly,
the voice said. The walls closed in.
But I'll still get it when you die.
Suck it, blue! Antoine yelled, bracing himself against the wall in a futile attempt to stop its movement. You'll be crushed like cigarettes for the line! Antoine! Bunny said, wagging a finger out. Calm down. Just leave everything to little old boy! She punched one hole of a robotic arm with as much force as she could muster. The wall cracked slightly. Bunny punched again with similar results. I don't think this is gonna work, Sally girl, she said worriedly. Mind if I have a go, Bunny? Sonic asked. My pleasure, sure, Hulk. Sonic walked to the wall and began tapping it, listening to sounds the wall made at different spots. When his tapping produced a hollow sound, he backed up a few steps. "Cover up, guys!" he called, waving up his legs. "Everyone behind me!" Sondra called. She waved her hands in front of her and formed a crystal shield. When everyone was behind the shield, Sondra gave Sonic a thumbs up. Sonic curled to the ball and plowed through the wall, sending shards of crystals everywhere. When he was through, Sondra and the others came out from behind the shield and dived through the hole Sonic had created as it closed up around them. The hole closed in on the tip of Tails' tails, pulling a bit of their hair out, but not doing no other damage. The walls continued to move towards each other until they collided, crumbling immediately into a formless mass. And that's when Blaze showed up to help us all out. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Very clever,
the voice called mockingly.
But you have a long way to journey before you can even find me. If you survive the journey, that is.
What do we be doing now? Antoine asked. This thing is obviously knows we are here, and realizes we are here. Are you sure this is ready to continue? It was bound to find out sooner or later, Antoine, Sondra said, peering down the path ahead. You thought this was going to be a cakewalk. You shouldn't have come. It is not my being that princess. I am just playing. I believe the term you're looking for is devil's advocate, Sir Kyle. Bunny supplied heavily. Oui, that is it. Well, we're through the first challenge, the physical one, Sally said. Might as well keep going. Well then, let's stop talking and start juicing, Sonic said excitedly. He wrapped up his legs to take off, but Tails grabbed him and pulled him back. Hey, what you do that for, little bro? Sonic, Tails said carefully. We don't know much about the void, and we definitely don't know our way around. We gotta take it slow or we get lost. Tails, me and slow are not the same, or should not be spoken in the same sentence. Sonic looked at Tails, who just now nosing the change had taken place in him. Yeah, I guess you're right, he mumbled, looking at his feet. Man, I hope he changes back to normal when we leave, he added silently. I'll lead, Sondra said. Stay close to each other and stay on the path no matter what happens. So he started down the path with Tails next to her. Right behind him were Bunny and Antoine, bringing out the rear were Sally and a disgruntled Sonic. Sally noticed the change in Sonic and sat closer to him. What's the matter, Sonic? She asked in a whisper. Sonic looked at her for a second, then back to his feet. Huh? Oh, nothing's wrong, Sal, he answered. Sally smiled. It bothers you, doesn't it? What bothers me? The fact that Tails grew up like he did. You notice he was still the same little kid he was before he came here, don't you? Sonic tried to say, Of course not! Where did you get that idea? But he couldn't get the words out. Sally nodded. I thought as much. Underneath, Tails is still Tails. Sure, he may look 16 and have the mind of an adult, but in his heart, he's still the little Tails that we all know and love. Yeah, I guess you're right, Sal, Sonic said reluctantly. It's just so weird. I mean, I'm used to seeing him as my little brother, but now he's more on our level, and it freaks me out. You'll get used to it, Sonic, she said, taking a hold of his hand. We'll get used to it together. Now, we better hurry up or the others will leave us behind. Sonic was about to make a smart remark when he heard a piercing scream break through the air. That sounded like Sondra, Sally exclaimed, flying towards the sound, pulling Sonic along with her. When they got there, they saw Tails, Bunny, and Antoine laying on the ground holding their legs. Stay back! Sondra cried. Sally lighted to a sign right next to her. What happened to him? Sally asked. We must be getting closer to the voice core than I thought. It's stealing their energy at a fast rate. They're turning to crystal. Oh no, Sally exclaimed. But I thought you said they'd be safe from it because of their love. I thought they would be. But the void is just too powerful. Wait a minute, Sonic interrupted. Why ain't Sally and I turning? I mean, we're just as close as they are. Sondra looked at him for a moment, their eyes widened. I think I got it. Sonic, Sally, let go of each other's hands for a second. Sonic and Sally separated, immediately fell to the ground. Their legs turned to crystal. What the? Sonic yelled, trying to stand. Sondra ran to them and put their hands together. Instantly, their legs returned to normal. I thought so, she said, going to Bunny and Antoine. She put their hands together with the same results. You must keep in contact with each other to fight this off.
Your love can keep the void at bay, but only work when there is a physical link between the two of you.
Bunny and Antoine stood up shakily. Man, you'd think it wouldn't affect me because of my robotic parts, Bunny said. But what about poor little Tails?
Sondra watched him and shook his hand. Tails' legs returned to normal as quickly as the others. Smiling, he helped him stand. I guess you weren't kidding about how you felt, were you? Tails asked. And neither were you, Sondra returned, flicking his nose with her finger. And I wasn't kidding about staying together, she told the others. As we get closer to the void's core, it'll affect you more and more. Now it's just your legs that turn to crystal. Later, it could be your whole body.
Sally shivered at the thought, but then she noticed the others were shaking too. In fact, the whole ground was shaking. Giant walls of crystal sprung up more, almost completely surrounding them. But Sally noticed that the ground continued to shake long after the walls surrounded them. The shaking appeared to be going off in the distance. This place is getting sloppy, Sonic remarked. I mean, last time it had us completely surrounded. Now it leaves us a way out.
I don't trust this, Sonic, Sally said. There has to be a reason it left us a way out.
Quite right, Princess,
the voice answered. Sally was disturbed to notice it was somehow stronger before.
Welcome to my maze. There is only one right path through it. All others lead to a very slow and painful death. Can you find a way out with enough time to find me?
Sally looked at the timer. It showed that there were 48 minutes left.
Well, I've always been good at solving puzzles,
she said brightly, feigning confidence.
We'll see how I do with this one.
Why don't I just bust through it like I did last time? Sonic asked, painfully revving up his legs.
Because, Sonic, remember, I may have the speed, but I can't do a spin attack like you.
Sally explained patiently.
Remember, we have to stay in contact or we turn into crystal.
Sonic looked at Sally, then stopped his legs. Yeah, I guess. So come on, we better get moving before we're out of time.
Do you have a problem with having to hold my hand, Sonic?
Sally inquired as he set off. I could think of things I would rather do, Sonic grumbled, looking away from her.
Oh, really?
Sally asked with fake surprise. Sonic looked away for a moment longer, then turned to Sally with a big smile. Gotcha. Sally was about to either kiss or hit him, but Bunny intervened. I'm sure glad y'all could joke on a town like this, she said. But don't you think we really should be getting moving? Sally and Sonic led the way with the other four behind.
This seems like one of the mazes I enjoyed solving as a child,
Say said wistfully.
Father loves giving me these puzzles. He said he improved my thought process and make me a better ruler.
The concern showed on her face.
Wait a minute. I just remembered. This is the one I couldn't solve. The void can read our minds, Sondra cautioned. It must have known that this maid was accept you. That's why he's using it.
Pardon me, princess, Antoine interrupted. But exactly how close did you be coming to the solvement of the solution of this maze? Getting better, Aunt, Bunny whispered, squeezing his hand encouragingly.
I think I got about 3/4 of the way through, but that was on the day of the coup. Sonic had just come to me, saying he wanted to show me something. I never had the chance to finish it.
Let's just get through what you remember, and we'll wing it from there, Sonic told Sally.
Let's see, if I remember right, we should take this corridor,
Sally said, pointing to the left.
They traveled for about 10 minutes, Sally taking them as far as she could remember.
She noticed that a doorway always shut as they passed through it, blocking their way back.
Well, this is as far as I got, she said finally. Now what?
Sondra held up her free hand and closed her eyes. She felt her hand begin to glow as she slowly turned in a circle, her hand brightening and dimming as she turned.
The void's energy is the strongest in that direction, she said,
stopping where her hand was brightest.
Sally nodded. I could picture the rest of the maze in my mind. I just hope I could fight the right way.
She walked through the doorway closest to where Sondra had pointed, wishing for a little luck and guidance. Sally led them on, keeping to the general direction Sondra had pointed out. Occasionally, they would take a path getting opposite of the correct direction, but she did seem to be leading them out. At least, she did not lead them to any dead ends. Finally, the path split into 3, each fork appearing to lead out of the maze. The left fork passed through a large, rather ornate archway.
The middle one simply continued out of the maze into the distance. One had rubble almost completely blocking the exit, so only a small crawl place remained. Sally looked from one to the other to the third. She said. The voice said that only one path would lead out of here, so only one of those exits is real. Any guesses which one it is? Seems obvious to me that the rubble is only an illusion, so we won't go that way, Sonic said smugly. Now hold on there, Sugar Hog, Bunny interjected. Usually the most ordinary path is the right one. I thought we'd go straight. You are both having good points, Antoine said diplomatically. However, it is common knowledge that the most beautiful choice is not the correct one. However, if the fleet is as intelligent as it seems to be, then it may be expecting us to avoid that one. You guys were a lot of help, Sally said sarcastically. Sondra, do you think you get a path on the right one? Sondra held up her hand and closed her eyes as she had done before. Her hand glowed equally bright along each of the path. Sorry, sis, she said, shrugging. No can do this time. Sally groaned. Ugh. Any ideas, Tails? Tails rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Well, considering everything that was just said, I don't think any of these are the way out. Say what? Everyone said together. Sondra, where is the flight energy the strongest? I told you. It's equal from all three this time. That's not what I'm asking, Tails said patiently. I mean overall. Sondra looked at Tails as she wasn't quite sure what he had in mind, but she tried to raise her hand. She spun around slowly but stopped short. That's odd, she remarked. It's strongest from that blank wall, she said, pointing. Tails smiled. Thought so. He walked with Sondra to the wall and placed his free hand on it. Stayed there for a moment, but then passed through it. This is the real way out, he said, walking through the wall and pulling Sondra after him. The other four walked where they had seen Tails go, and passed through the wall in similar fashion. After walking in for a few seconds in total darkness, they emerged from the maze. Sondra and Tails were waiting for them, smiling. How did you know to do that? Sally asked. Tails tried. I just had a gut feeling about it, that's all. Those exits seemed way too easy to be the real one, no matter which one we chose. I figured it had to be something harder. I mean, the void wouldn't offer us a real chance of getting out, so the real one had to be hidden. See, Sonic, Sally said, poking Sonic in the ribs. Tails' newfound maturity is really becoming a big help. Yeah, Sonic grumbled. Don't worry, Sonic, Tails said, laughing. Once we're out of here, things will go back to normal. I still know how to have fun. I just got a better mind right now. Even Sonic had to smile at that. Still best buds? He asked, holding his fist up. Tails bumped Sonic's fist with his own. Still brothers, Tails answered. I hate to interrupt, Sally said, tapping the timer, but we only have about 30 minutes left. Halfway through our time. Halfway through the end, Sondra said. Seems appropriate. I am wondering what the void will try to do to us next, Antoine said as they started walking. Well, Sir Kyle, we'll get to that when we get to it, Bunny said almost tearfully. Boing, how about goodbye? They continued walking down the path and soon left the maze behind. They walked quite for some time, Sally urging them not to walk faster because they were running out of time. But Nutty noticed that no matter how fast they walked, they did not seem to be getting anywhere. Huge crystals now bordered the path to either side, and continued as far as the eye could see. Bunny found it disconcerting she could no longer tell where they were, or how close they were getting. Even Sondra seemed bewildered by this, and that was a bad sign. As they continued on, Bunny felt a sort of apathy settle in on her. Why am I doing this in the first place? She wondered to herself. It all seems so hopeless all of a sudden. Bunny looked to her friends and saw the same doubts mirrored on their faces. Maybe we should just give this all up and try again another day. All of a sudden, Bunny saw Sally drop down to her knees. Sonic picked her back up to her feet. Come on, Sal! He said, shaking her. We can't quit now! Oh, Sonic, what's the use? Sally said, dropping back to her knees. There's no telling how far we have to go, or what we'll find when we get there. Why don't we just leave? Sal, think about what you're saying. Wait, don't you want to rescue your father? Of course I do, Sally snapped. I'm just being realistic.
She held to the timer. We only have about 10 minutes left. How are we going to finish this all in time? Then why don't you contact Donovan and have him give us more time? Sally shook her head. No good. I tried to get a hold of him, but there's some kind of interference. So what do you want to do? Just sit here and wait for him to pull us out? Even though I admit, I find that success somewhat appealing. Sonic said with a sigh. Bunny said. Sitting down and almost letting go of Bunny. I do not have the willpower to be continuing myself. Bunny looked askance at everyone. What the hoo-ha is the matter with y'all? She demanded. We gotta keep going until we can't go no more. Easy for you to say, Tails muttered, sitting down with Sondra. You got those robotic parts to keep you going. Yeah, Sondra said. If you want to waste your time, fine, but count me out. I don't believe my ears, Bunny yelled, pulling Antoine to his feet roughly. You'll make us come all this way, then quit us? Well, I'm not giving up that easy. It takes more than a long road to break old Bunny Rabbit's spirit. A light bulb went off inside Bunny's head. Spirit? Well, that's it! The spirit challenge! The voice making us feel depressed. He's trying to stop us from playing it. Maybe so, but that doesn't make a difference, Sondra said, lying down. Well, that's where you're wrong, Bunny said heatedly. She picked up Antoine on her shoulder and proceeded to do the same with the others. They offered token resistance at first, but as depressed they were, it wasn't much. Bunny, you're not going to break into a song cue, are you? 'Cause I really love it. Bunny made sure she had them all balanced, then started running down the path. She couldn't move very fast carrying all that weight, but she did the best she could. She ran for a few minutes, then collapsed under the strain. She pushed them all off of her, with the exception of Antoine, who she made sure to keep in contact with. Everyone sat up, holding their heads. Ugh, what happened? Sally asked. Bunny sat up, panting heavily. Still won't sit here and give up? She asked between puffs of breath. What are you talking about? No, I don't want to give up! Bunny breathed a sigh of relief. Then we must have passed the challenge. That's right, I remember now, Sondra said. The void must have stopped our will to go on. Luckily for us, Bunny was too stubborn to give it into it. Bunny? Tails began, looking insane. But what I said back there? Bunny waved aside. Don't worry no about that, Tails. I know you didn't mind it. You were just feeling like yourself. Like Sondra said, it didn't affect me none because of how stubborn I am. Only, look at how long I waited for Antoine to come around. That is true, Antoine said, drawing Bunny close and hugging her. It's every day. I thank the Almighty that you did it. He kissed her tenderly on the lips, putting his whole heart into it. A booming voice yelled, nearly knocking everyone off their feet and causing Antoine and Bunny to look up. We're here! Sondra cried, hurrying down the path with the others right behind her. Soon they came in with the sight of the largest, most beautiful crystal everyone's seen. It towered over all their heads, and it would have taken Sally standing on Sonic's shoulders just to reach the middle of it. It had many different facets, and almost all glowed with a vibrant light. Look! Sondra said excitedly, pointing to a couple of facets that had gone dark. I was right. Love can destroy this thing. All of you, look at the one you love, and tell them how you all feel. Alright, you heard them, everybody, all my listeners, if you got your girlfriends or partners with you right now, come on, let's work on this here. There comes a time when you face the toughest of fights. What? Power of Love for Sailor Moon really fits right about now. And it's playing in my head at full force. Look, it was either that or Speak From Your Heart. Now I can finally relate. Sonic looked Sally in his arms and looked at her eyes. Sally, you know I love you. I may not always be able to say it, but I feel it every minute, every day. You become like a part of me. A part that I wouldn't be able to live without. Sonic, Sally said, rubbing his cheek with her hand, I love you too. When we were growing up, I could never decide if I wanted you around me or I didn't. You always seemed to know the perfect way to annoy me. When we come to Nahal, you were always there for me. Covering for me. Caring for me. I've known I loved you for a long time now. Like I said, you're a part of me that I could never live without. She drew his head to hers and they kissed deeply. No! Keep it up, Sondra encouraged. Bunny, Antoine, your turn!
Wait! You do not have to destroy me! I can make all your father's wishes come true. Sally, I can give your father back his life energy so he can exist on Mommy as proper.
Sally moved her head back a few inches, but still hugged Sonic. I'll get that anyway if you're destroyed, she countered.
But that is not the extent of my powers. I know everything, and can't even give you the means to destroy Snively.
Sally looked at the crystal and faltered a bit. Well, no, Sally. Sonic said, holding her closer. We could beat Snively without your help.
Perhaps, Sonic. But maybe you would prefer knowing about your parents. They're alive, you know, and I could tell you how to find them.
My parents? Alive? Sonic whispered decently. His arms trembled and Will faltered.
Bunny, wouldn't you like to have your true body back?
The void asked just as he was about to speak. Bunny's words caught her throat. She looked at Antoine with that pleading look, begging him to say something. Antoine faced the crystal, still holding Bunny. I notice you have not called my name yet, he said quietly. Perhaps it is being because you know that my fondest wish has already been realized. Having Bunny by my side is my fondest wish. And no trickery or promises can change that. I love her with all my heart and soul, and I know what it is like to not be with her, and I shall never feel like that again.
Oh, Void, you didn't, you miserable.
Oh well, gotta say the cliche fill line.
Curses!
The voice screamed as more facets went dark. It was about halfway dark right about now. Oh, Void, you know, you were starting out so cool, then you butt us out this. My god, you mean to tell me that your biggest weakness just so happens to be if we could get two people who love each other very, very much to just come in and proceed to go at it? You could be beaten by Usagi. Alone. I hope you enjoy that thought. Antoine's right, Bunny said with confidence. I can figure out some other way to get back to normal. All that really matters is I got Antoine back, and that's worth more than all your promises. She kissed him with such fire and passion that even Antoine was taken back by it for a moment. My god. You could probably... My god, Canes could just walk in and take you out without even blinking. And of course, well, the main six could easily take you out without any problems. Sonic and Sally looked at each other again. But your offer is tempting, they said together, but we can work through it on our own. They kissed again, putting all their emotion into it. Don't even try to convince me, Tails said, hugging Sondra closely, looking in her eyes. My life is perfect now that Sondra's in it. You got nothing to offer me either.
You think not, young fox?
The voice said calmly. It was so surprising seeing the crystal was over 75% dark.
But you're just giving me the key to victory. Didn't Sondra tell you? And destroying me. She destroys herself.
You lie! Tails screamed, squaring the crystal. But then he felt 2 droplets of water fall on his chest. Looked back at Sondra and saw her crying. Is it true? He whispered. Oh, Miles, I didn't want you to know. She sobbed, burying her head into his chest. Yes, it is. No. The others murmured, breaking their kisses and staring at it.
Think about it. Destroy me and you destroy her. Let me survive and I can give her life.
Sondra, no, Tails whispered, hugging her closer. I can't lose you. Miles, listen to me, Sondra said, holding his face and looking directly in his eyes. I love you. I love you so much I want you to be happy, even at my own expense. I knew the risk when I came here, but the greater good must be served.
The greater good!
You were waiting for that joke. Yep. Mobius needs its king, and Sally needs her father. But, Sondra laid a finger on his lips. Please, Miles, it's already done. The void is now too weak to keep me alive, even if it ever intended to. Let's finish it off now, put an end to this evil. She moved her finger and kissed him. Tails kissed her back, crying as though his heart was breaking. You gotta believe in the power of love. It keeps us on this moment. It's what our heart is always on. The crystal began to shake as the final few facets went dark. A high-pitched wheel resonated from the crystal as the shaking increased. At once, the crystal enveloped in a column of light and exploded upward, leaving no trace behind. It's over,
Sondra said, pulling back from Tails. She stood for a moment, smiling at him, then collapsed.
Sondra!
Tails yelled, catching her as she fell. Miles, she said weakly, the time has come for when we must say goodbye. She held up a hand, and a small crystal formed in her palm. Take this, and wear it always in memory of me, she said, pressing into his hand.
I won't leave you,
she said, as tears flowed more freely now. Sondra glanced at Sally and smiled. It seems you have no choice, she whispered. Tails looked at Sally and saw the timer had read only a few seconds. He reached his ship to pull it off, but was enveloped in a white light as he touched it. Farewell, my love, Sondra said as he disappeared. For her last bit of strength, she opened a portal under the king and Nagas. Sighing at her last breath, she closed her eyes and was still. Tails struggled to his feet, finding out the dizziness the teleportation had induced. He looked around and saw Sonic, Sally, Bunny, and Antoine also rising to their feet. Donovan and Rotor were checking on them to see if they were all right.
Sondra!
He screamed to the night sky, falling to his knees. A void portal had opened, and Nagas and the king stepped out.
It is good to be back home,
the king said, looking as the portal closed.
Daddy!
Sally cried, pushing away from Rotor right to him. She hugged him with all her might, crying.
Sally,
the king exclaimed, hugging her back. He looked around at the others, his brow furrowed in concern.
But where's Sondra?
She is gone, my liege, Donovan said, falling on one knee and bowing his head. She gave her life so you and Nagas could be free.
What?
Tails screamed, pouncing on Donovan, his hands reaching for Donovan's throat.
You knew this would happen? Why? Why did you tell me?
Donovan offered no resistance.
She asked me not to tell you,
he said.
You can fight me if it'll make you feel better, but do not in any way lessen the sacrifice she made.
Easy there, Tails, Sonic said, pulling him off Donovan. Calm on. Calm down.
Calm down? Calm down? How would you feel if you lost Sally like this?
I guess like you do now, Sonic admitted. But you have to come to terms with this. It's gonna be hard, but you know we'll all be here for you. Tails' anger melted away, leaving behind only an aching emptiness. He started crying again, as tears seemed to be the only thing to ease the pain.
Oh, Sonic,
he said between sobs.
It hurts so much. Almost as I never met her.
Oh, honey, don't say that, Sally said, letting go of her father and hugging Tails. You two shared something very special. Don't ever wish that away. She did what she did out of love, and that's the greatest gift anyone can receive.
But why? Tails demanded. Why her?
I don't know, Tails. Things sometimes just have to work out that way. Like Sonic said, we'll all be here for you whenever you need us. Tails looked down, sniffling.
Thanks, Aunt Sally,
he whispered. He pulled away from her embrace and wiped his nose with the back of his hand.
Excuse me. I think I need to be alone,
he said, twisting his tails and flying up a few feet.
I'll be back soon,
he said as he flew off. He'll be okay, Sal, Sonic said, hugging Sally close. He just needs some time to deal with it.
We should be going too, Your Majesty,
Naga said, walking next to the king. Going? Sally asked. Where?
Nagas and I think it might be a good idea to reacquaint ourselves with Mobius, see what has changed since the last time we found us,
the king explained.
Yes, we will travel for a time, getting ourselves used to this world. It has been a long time for us, and we need to take it slow.
Oh, Daddy,
Sally said softly.
Must you go right away? I just got you back.
Do not worry, Sally, the king answered. We won't be gone, and we'll be safe. Nagas' magic can protect us.
Oh, all right, Sally said reluctantly. But I want you back here as soon as you can manage. The king laughed, and then lit up his eyes.
Sally, you remind me so much of your mother right now. We'll be careful, I promise.
He gave Sally another hug and turned away.
Besides, I need to go find your brother.
Elias?
Yes, I know he's alive. Be right back.
Meanwhile, back on the floating island, Elias.
Wish somebody would pick me up. Hello?
Farewell, everyone.
He called as he and Nagas walked off, waving.
We'll return with the spring.
To the east, I suppose.
Bye, Daddy, Sally said, hugging Sonic. Oh, Sonic, I don't know where I should be happy or sad. So much has happened. I have my father back, but he won't return for about 4 months. We lost Sondra. That's gonna hurt for a while. Looks like Tails isn't the only one who needs to get his emotions straight. Sonic remarked.
Hi, wait a minute. Where'd Donovan go?
Everyone looked, just noticing now that the squirrel had vanished. If I recall, Antoine said, Donovan was not the one animal to be waiting around to get praised. He'll probably be showing up if we are in need of his services. You're probably right, Antoine, Sally said. I think the next time we see him, we might be able to trust him a little more easily.
Maybe, Sonic said doubtfully, but I do know one thing. You're going to have a hell of a time explaining everything that just happened. I mean, you got to explain where your father is, what happened to Sondra, and everything else.
I don't envy you in the least. What do you mean I have to? Sally asked playfully as they started walking back to Naho arm in arm. You're helping you now. Bunny and Antoine followed, also arm in arm. I like those two are going to need some tats in the sails, Bunny said. It's not hitting them yet, but it will. Oui, Antoine answered. And of course, we'll be there to help them. Meanwhile, back in the remnants of the void, Sondra's lifeless body floated on the currents of chaos that the void was now overrun by. Her body twisted, turned in every possible direction as the swirling madness began erasing every trace of the void ever existed.
That's me, Dusty, your local sleeper. Thank you, Discord.
As she was caught in a cross-current, her backpack unfastened, and the power ring fell. The ring caught a straight current and somehow made its way to her hand. As it touched, her body was surrounded by a yellow glow that lit up the area. The ring then fast, releasing all its power in 1 second.
I refuse to say it's the power ring. I'm just saying Blaze came by and healed her.
Nearby, a crystal started resonating as the sound began to pass through what was left of the void. It was a sound rarely heard in this place of death and evil. It was the sound of a heart starting to beat. The next day, Tails was still flying through the great forest. He flown aimlessly through most of the night, stopping only when he was too tired to continue. When he had fallen asleep, he dreaded nothing but Sondra. And when he awoke, he started flying again, as he could somehow escape the memories that had haunted him. He lifted weary eyes and saw that he was approaching Sanctuary. He was about to veer off, but not really wanting to talk to anyone at the moment. But certainly then, he realized maybe it was for the best he did talk. Certainly couldn't Hoyt. He flew to the door and landed. He tried to get himself to open the door, but couldn't. He turned around and sat down on the steps, crying again. A light hand rested on his shoulder. Forgive me, Janice, Tails said without looking up. I didn't mean to disturb you. It's just that, well, I'm in a lot of pain right now. The hand on his shoulder squeezed gently, indicating he was about to continue. Sondra's dead, he said, his voice thick from crying. She gave up her life to bring back Nagas and the void, King from the Void. It's too complicated going now, but she's gone and I miss her so much. Tails sighed and looked at the crystal he held in his hand. I know I'm only 11, and the Void changed me to looking older, but I did love her. There's no other way for me to describe how I felt about her. Sally told me once that the only way to solve a problem is to talk about it with someone. I don't want to solve it. I want Sondra back. I know I'm being selfish, but that's the way I feel. Unless we hadn't gone to the Void. Or that she didn't have to die. Or any of a million other things that can't interfere with me. Why? Why did she have to die? Tails dissolved into tears again and shuddered uncontrollably. When he felt better, he wiped his nose and took a deep breath. Anyway, thanks for listening, he said, coughing. Do you have any advice for me? I don't know about advice, Tails, a dulcet voice said that made Tails freeze in disbelief. But I think you should stop feeling sorry for yourself and enjoy this beautiful day. Tails stood up and turned around. There in front of him was Sondra. She looked healthy, happy, and more alive than he had ever seen her. You look like you've seen a ghost, she remarked, smiling. Sondra? Tails whispered, tears filling up with eyes again. Sondra, you're alive! He grabbed her and hugged her tight, spinning her around. A bit convenient. But you know what? Let's give Tails a happy ending. Let's give them all a happy ending. Sorry. I just like happy endings better than sweet ones. Sorry. I don't know, Miles, Sondra confessed, hugging him back. One minute I'm watching you and the others get teleported from the void, and the next I wake up in the middle of the church.
Blaze waved high.
Tails stared back on her feet but didn't let go of her. I don't care how or why, he said, tears on the joy streaming down his face. Just glad you're back. And here's the best thing, Sondra said, taking one of his hands and placing it on her chest. Beneath his fingers, Tails could feel a heart beating. I'm not even part crystal anymore. Whatever brought me back made me whole. Tails picked her up in his arms and flew off toward Knothole. Wait till everyone sees you, he said happily. They'll be so surprised and glad to see you. Sondra threw her arms around his neck and buried her face into his neck. Steve knew that they flew something miraculous had happened. No matter what, she would never leave Tails again. Tails watched him go from the doorway to church. He bent down, picked up the crystal Tails had dropped, in excitement and smiled.
It is so good to see young animals so happy,
he thought, walking back to the church. He knelt before the altar and placed the crystal on it.
Thank you, Almighty One, for answering my prayer,
he said.
Oh my god! You mean that the only way you found out to save Sondra was because the author could save them now?
Only you could have saved her from a place of such evil. All honor and glory belong to you.
He stood and walked back to his room to meditate on the day to come.